the grand and infamous first ancestor of the demon sect, now has been sought out and humiliated. How could he endure this? He immediately mustered the energy and slapped it over. The next second, Suishin-chan was hit by this overwhelming palm, his life or death unknown. Seeing this, everyone hurriedly ran outside. At this time, only Suishin-chan was seen standing in place, unmoving, staring in horror towards the direction of the evil sky pavilion, as if he was turned into stone. Those not involved could never understand the feelings of those involved at this moment, but it can be confirmed that he indeed lost in just one move. A guard stepped forward and offered his services. His clothes were all gone, truly pitiful. This is my good opportunity to show the leader. After all, details determine life. The favor I got among the 4 people is not without reason. Second sect master, you can wear my clothes. No need to thank me. After saying this, he draped the clothes on the other party, but he didn't expect that in the next second, Suishin-chan was actually turned into flying ash by the wind stirred by the clothes, dispersed between the heaven and earth. The third on the sinister list of the cultivation world, Suishin-chan, fell like this. Everyone who saw this scene was extremely shocked. You made the second sect master disappear. I didn't do it. Pan Zhong and Zhou Jifeng swallowed. Some couldn't believe that Suishin-chan turned into dust. That guy really dared to act arrogant in the evil sky pavilion, and ending up like this can be considered a self-inflicted punishment. However, just a single slap and he vanished into thin air. Isn't it a bit too cruel? Xia Yuaner had stars in her eyes and a look of admiration. I have followed Master for many years and have never seen Master use the great hand seal of the Tathagata Buddha. Suddenly, he was able to use it to kill Suishin-chan, who is known for his 4-leaf golden lotus inside avatar, with just a single blow. How many more tricks does Master have up his sleeve? Duan Mushing and Ming Shirin were both shocked and relieved. Then Ming Shirin's eyes hardened as she looked at the 4 black-robed subordinates. Do you 4 people still want to see my 100 tribulation inside avatar? Upon hearing these words, they instantly began to tremble all over. At this moment, Lu Zhou's voice came from the evil sky pavilion. Go back and tell your own sect master to manage their own people. When Master spoke, Ming Shirin could not take action. Immediately, they were told to leave. Ding, you have received 1,000 merit points. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou had a myriad of thoughts. A single item card provides 500 merit points. Meanwhile, killing an expert in the primordial spirit tribulation realm can provide 1,000 merit points, which is equivalent to earning twice as much. While item cards are good, they should still be used with caution in the future. Since the power of this item card is so indescribable, how can I use it when I encounter someone I don't want to kill in the future? The reason for letting Suishin-chan in was because, aside from wanting to understand the purpose of the demon-slaying sect, it was also because I wanted to try the effect of this card. However, killing him off just now can also be seen as a warning to those of the demon-slaying sect. After several disciples returned to the evil sky pavilion, they started to flatter the master. Master's divine power is unparalleled. You don't even need to make a move. And even when you do, you can make him disappear in a flash. Xia Yuaner cutely moved forward, cheerfully indicating that she also wanted to learn. Lu Zhou shook his head and rejected her. You practice the Taijing Jade Scroll, focusing on body movement and boxing, which conflicts with the practice of Zen Buddhism. Aren't you afraid of being eroded by the evil spirits while practicing it? Upon hearing this, Xia Yuaner grumbled. In the mouths of people from the outside world, I have already become a devil. Lu Zhou, after hearing this, glanced at her, talkative. Duan Mushing asked with a puzzled face, Master, why did you let them go? Before Lu Zhou could speak, Ming Shirin answered, Master only intended to use the fate of one life to warn the rest. He didn't really want to eliminate the whole demon-slaying sect. The demon-slaying sect is very ambitious and wishes to expand its influence, and first senior brother, the ghost sect is their stumbling block. So, if the demon-slaying sect were to be eliminated, who would come and restrain the ghost sect? Duan Mushing continued to ask upon hearing this. Suishin-chan is the second-in-command leader of the demon-slaying sect. Since he was killed, the demon-slaying sect will definitely not let this matter pass easily. Ming Shirin sneered, you're thinking too much. Even if they are angry, what can they do? Lead their whole sect to come attack Jinting Mountain? If even Yu Zhenghai doesn't have the courage, would the demon-slaying sect dare to do so? Moreover, it hasn't been long since Jinting Mountain has defeated the top 10 experts. Even the Heavenly Sword Sect Master Luo Changfeng, who has the 7-leaved inside avatar, was defeated by Master not long ago. Who else would dare to come and challenge us? Upon hearing these words, Pan Zhong and Zhou Jifeng's eyes lit up. Fourth Master's words are really reasonable. It has enlightened me. Fourth Master is very talented and even cleared up the doubts from my heart. After hearing this, Ming Shirin was somewhat confused. Did these 2 idiots flatter the wrong person? Then he quickly glanced at his master, and saw that the master was not angry. At this point, Lu Zhou was somewhat speechless. This guy is really good at analyzing. Just after hearing him out, it seems he actually made a lot of sense. Then he took out a few bags of snacks and distributed them to everyone. Master, where did you get these snacks from? Go ahead and eat. After you finish eating, fix the broken things. Meanwhile, after Shuxinchan's death, all the guards hastily drove the Black Dragon sedan away from Jinting Mountain, but without Shuxinchan anchoring them. Even mobilizing the Black Dragon sedan became extremely difficult. Although they could barely get it to fly, the flying speed was very slow. They flew for half an hour but hadn't even covered 100 miles. Everyone put in more effort and infused spiritual energy into the dragon sedan. Just as the leader was rallying the other guards to continue their efforts, a cry of surprise suddenly came from the side. Quick, look ahead, there seems to be someone. Following the direction of his pointing hand, they saw a figure in a green robe, blocking the path of the Black Dragon sedan. The person was suspended in midair, surrounded by an eerie aura. The long sword on his back was faintly glowing red. The leader of the black-robed men cautiously asked, "May I ask for your honorable name? Why are you blocking our path?" As soon as he finished speaking, a strange smile appeared at the corner of the mouth of the man in the green robe. He softly said, "Apologies." Upon hearing this, the black-robed man gave a bow of his hand. "If it's a misunderstanding, there's no harm. Please step aside." After hearing this, the man in the green robe continued to fold his arms and stood quietly in place. Then, a surge of gang chi began to circulate around his body. The blood-red long sword on his back instantly broke free. The face of the black-robed man changed drastically when he saw the scene. He finally realized that something was wrong. "It's the sword demon. Quick, abandon the sedan and run." As soon as these words fell, everyone immediately scattered and ran like locusts. However, the long sword trembled, splitting into 2, then into 4, and 4 into 8. In the blink of an eye, a dense rain of swords filled the sky. It pierced through the scattering and fleeing black-robed men. Accompanied by the spilling of crimson blood, over 100 black-robed men fell back to the ground like kites with broken strings. The sword demon Yushanrong had a smile on his face all along. He crossed his arms and did not look at those people. In the next second, he vanished in a blur, disappearing from here like a ghost. Meanwhile, inside the evil sky pavilion, Ming Shirin tentatively asked his master, "The demon-slaying sect has all retreated. How should we deal with the female cultivators of the Yenyu Palace?" He was a bit unsure about his master's style. After all, according to normal logic, people like Yi Tianqin, who betray their master and destroy their ancestors, should be killed. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou pondered for a while, then turned his head to ask Xia Yuaner what she thought. Upon hearing this, Xia Yuaner naively leaned in and said, "Why not kill them all?" As soon as she finished speaking, Lu Zhou knocked on her head. Xia Yuaner immediately corrected herself. "I understand, master. I'll let them go right now." Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou glanced at her. "When did I say to let them go?" Upon hearing this, Ming Shirin's eyes flickered, and he quickly had an idea. "Master, many parts of the evil sky pavilion have been damaged recently, and many places need cleaning and repair. How about we punish them by making them do hard labor?" Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou nodded his head. This is indeed a good idea. After they have repaired the evil sky pavilion, lock them in the cave of reflection to be punished alongside Yi Tianqin. "I will obey master's orders," Ming Shirin said. He then gathered his courage to ask his master, "Master, now that the entire Yenyu Palace has been punished and Yi Tianqin's cultivation has been abolished, if someone were to stay in the cave of reflection with its threatening cold air, they would most likely die. Should we?" Before he could finish speaking, Lu Zhou interrupted him. "Do you sympathize with her?" Ming Shirin was in a state of chaos and quickly responded, "This disciple wouldn't dare. Yi Tianqin should be punished for her betrayal. This is what she deserves." He didn't dare to plead any further and turned around to leave. After leaving the evil sky pavilion, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, with junior sister's trial and error, "Master, that old man's temper is not something that's easy to think through." Thinking of Shuxinchan's fate, he felt a chill and decided to keep a low profile in the future. When Duan Mushing saw him leave, he also bowed and was about to retreat. "Wait." At this time, Lu Zhou stopped him. He then carefully observed the chain in his hand. This is indeed a 1,000-year forge of cold steel, an ordinary weapon which is hard to destroy. If one wants to break free from the chains, they will need a heavenly grade weapon. It's just that right now, I don't have any heavenly grade weapon. All I have is 2 in deadly attack cards left. The question is, can the cards be used on the chains? Won't they destroy Duan Mushing along with them? Upon seeing that Master's attention was all on these chains, Duan Mushing was overjoyed. "Master, please take action. These chains are rusted iron. They're no different from waste paper." Xia Yuaner also ran over to examine the chains, and after seeing the words Heavenly Sword Sect engraved on them, she immediately glared at Zhou Qifeng in anger. Zhou Jifeng, realizing that he was in trouble, knelt down and began to explain hurriedly, "That has nothing to do with me." Duan Mushing didn't care and expressed his excitement. "With Master here, even if there are hundreds of you, they will all be gone with just a single attack." No sooner had he finished speaking than he heard Lu Zhou's voice, "You honor, help me back." Seeing this, Duan Mushing was a bit taken aback. "Did I say something wrong?" Zhou Jifeng awkwardly walked forward. "Third mister, I really can't unlock those chains." Pan Zhong also chimed in, "Me too. Get lost." Upon hearing this, Duan Mushing instantly became angry. "I understand." The two of them nodded and quickly left in disgrace. Duan Mushing scratched his head and began to speculate. Maybe it was the chains that resisted Zhuoxin-chan's attacks, so Master deliberately picked it? Or is wearing these chains good for cultivation? Master's intentions may seem foolish, but it's best not to speculate. Since this is the case, I shouldn't rush. I'll just wear them. Meanwhile, in the demon-slaying sect, several black-robed men rushed into the demon-slaying palace. "Sect Master, the second fleet visiting the Jinting Mountain has encountered an accident. 40 kilometers north of Jinting Mountain, we've discovered the Black Dragon Chariot, with 150 corpses." After they finished reporting, there was an eerie silence from above. The leading black-robed man continued, "The second fleet has already formed an alliance with Jing Ming Dao and even had His Highness's support when we pressured the Jinting Mountain for an alliance. We didn't expect that." Old man. Before he could finish speaking, he was interrupted. Silence. The sect master's voice, like a thunderbolt, pierced the eardrums of his subordinates. "Inform Jing Tiandao to help. I will not be angered because of this, nor will I take this to heart. The demon-slaying sect and Jing Tiandao have always been the same. However, I hope that Jing Tiandao can also show some sincerity." The black-robed men suppressed their fear and bowed. "Yes, yes." This subordinate also has one more thing to report. Yesterday, 2 experts of Jing Tiandao competed with Zhuoxin-chan and suffered heavy injuries. I'm afraid they won't be able to meet the sect master. Leave. Upon hearing this, the shadowy figure above suppressed his anger and roared, the sound waves causing the black-robed men's blood to surge uncontrollably. "When I finally achieve power, I will crush that old man to ashes." At this moment, Lu Zhou seemed to sense something and sneezed a few times. He currently had 2690 merit points left. After using up the reversal card he had won from a lottery draw, he gained an additional 300 days of life. Now, he suppressed the urge to draw from the lottery. Cultivation is the basics. I think to convert the unconsumed merit points to buy the avatar. As for obtaining the merit points, the mission is the main part. These disciples are the main forces to complete the task. Thinking of his 6th disciple, Lu Zhou felt a bit gloomy. Yi Tianxin, this disciple who holds a grudge against me. If it were before Ji Tiandao's death, for such a rebel, most likely he would have been expelled. Just where did it go wrong? That part of the memory is still missing. At first, I thought it was the result of not being fitted after transmigrating. But during this time, I basically have full control of this body. The missing part is that part of the memory. Why can't I recall it? Forget it. If I can't remember it, it's her fate. With that, Lu Zhou no longer dwelled on it and began to seriously study the heaven writing. Meanwhile, in the cave of reflection on the back mountain, Ming Shirin arranged for the female cultivators from the Yanyu Palace and then brought a large quilt here. If it wasn't for Master, all of your subordinates would have died. Yi Tianxin leaned against the cave wall, her face pale. After hearing this, she clenched her teeth and coldly hummed, "A bunch of bastards who take advantage of others. If I am here, when will Zhuoxin-chan act wild?" Ming Shirin sighed and continued, "What are you talking about? The demon-slaying sect has nothing to do with your Yanyu Palace, even if Zhuoxin-chan isn't your opponent. What about Yin Tianluo's 3 sects?" Hearing this, Yi Tianxin's eyes were a bit dim. The 3 sects of South Dian have many experts, and they are beyond the capabilities of a small sect. Tianxin, senior brother can't help you that much. I originally thought that Master would fear the demon-slaying sect, and would send the beauties of the Yanyu Palace to others as gifts, but I never expected. Master only used a single attack, and it killed Zhuoxin-chan. 1 hit. Yi Tianxin was stunned when she heard this. Ming Shirin's eyes were full of admiration. That's right, this single attack, regardless of the Chan sect's handprint great fearless seal. Is he not afraid of wronging the demon-slaying sect? The back of the demon-slaying sect isn't as simple as just a few demon cultivators. That's what I thought. Junior sister Tianxin, you are still too young. What do you mean? Yi Tianxin asked in confusion. Ming Shirin answered proudly, "This is all in that old man's control." As soon as he finished speaking, Yi Tianxin suddenly began to cough violently. "I don't care what you say, I will remember your sympathy." Seeing this, Ming Shirin covered her with her own blanket and transmitted some energy to her, which somewhat relieved Yi Tianxin. When he moved closer, Ming Shirin noticed that there were a few silver strands in her hair. Yi Tianxin nonchalantly explained, Don't worry about me, my cultivation has been abolished, and the Dantian Qi cannot replenish my vitality energy, and will decline sooner or later. After hearing this, Ming Shirin couldn't help but sigh. Listen to my advice. Just plead forgiveness to Master, and maybe remember your relationship as disciple and Master. It might save you. Upon hearing this, Yi Tianxin slowly raised her head. Senior brother, have you ever thought of why first and second senior brother left? Upon hearing this, Ming Shirin looked indifferently to the side. I don't know and I don't want to know. After saying that, he immediately left. You have to properly reflect in the cave of reflection. When you finally understand, I will ask Master to release you. A sense of loss flashed in Yi Tianxin's eyes as she heard these words. I almost forgot to sun the quilt. The next second, Ming Shirin returned to take the quilt from her. After leaving the cave of reflection, Ming Shirin took a deep breath, mumbling to himself, I'm not like you guys. I still respect Master. After drying his quilt, Ming Shirin headed towards the Evil Sky Pavilion with his hands behind his back. The quiet back mountain is a good place for cultivation. Pan Zhong, who was cultivating, saw him pass by and plucked up the courage to follow him. Fourth Mister, please stay. I have a request. I wonder if the fourth Mister can fulfill it. Ming Shirin folded his arms and responded indifferently, I can't. Pan Zhong was a bit confused upon hearing this. What's with that expression? I have to be more thick-skinned and gutsy. With that thought, he quickly stepped forward to explain, Fourth Mister, please hear me out. My cold physique has recently become a state of overbearing pain. If this continues, I won't be able to last 3 months. The Pavilion Master promised me that he will grant me the 6 yang skill. I hope Fourth Mister can help. Please help me. Ming Shirin looked at him after hearing this. Is that it? Since Master, that old man, has promised, then he definitely won't forget. 3 months is still long. Some people don't know whether they will see the sun tomorrow. Seemingly reminded of something, he sighed at this remark, and then jumped up and left, leaving a confused Pan Zhong standing there. Zhou Jifeng, who was nearby, saw this and patted him, comforting. As I said earlier, although Fourth Mister looks peaceful on the surface, his words carry a knife and he is unpredictable. I suggest you look for the ninth sister. Ninth sister is innocent and pure. She is also good-natured, and the Pavilion Master adores ninth sister the most. Say something nice and she will definitely help you. Pan Zhong nodded after hearing this, seeming to find some sense in it. The pure-hearted Ci Yuaner was beating someone up at the post station at the foot of the mountain. Not long after, she returned to the Evil Sky Pavilion. Master, I got news about senior sister Zhao Yu. Lu Zhou was somewhat surprised upon hearing this. Let's hear it. He still didn't understand why Zhao Yu had betrayed them. It should be different from the other disciples who had left. Ci Yuaner plucked up the courage, picked up Master's teapot and took a big gulp. Then after a pause she said, Senior sister might appear in the U region. The people stationed mentioned the bright jade skill, so I guessed it might be the case. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou couldn't help but worry. It's true that Zhou Yu used the bright jade skill to cultivate, but according to Zhou Yu's temperament, how could it have spread so easily? Could it be the same as the time they tried to lure me in by kidnapping Ci family? This time, it's different from before. Without the peak experience card, if I fall into their trap, it will be the end. At this moment, a system prompt sounded in his ear. New mission, bring back Zhou Yu. Ci Yuaner paused for a moment, then continued, Senior sister looks like she's getting married. Something about being a saintess. Lu Zhou was taken aback. The reason she's able to have her cultivation now is solely because of the bright jade skill. A jade user, the energy of heaven and earth, taking the fortune of heaven and earth, absorbing the essence of the sun and moon. If one wishes to cultivate the skill to its peak, they mustn't get entangled in thoughts and mustn't be in a personal relationship. After some thought, he asked what the reason could be. Ci Yuaner shook her head, indicating that she also didn't know. This disciple only heard that the U Province Chancellor seems to be holding a grand ceremony. That's right, it seems like the demon-slaying sect will also send someone there. Master, how about I go there myself? I will bring back senior sister. If I see people from the demon-slaying sect, I will kill them for you, okay? Upon saying this, Ci Yuaner unintentionally released a bit of killing intent. The teapot in her hand shattered in response. Lu Zhou flatly refused her without hesitation. Although I don't take the demon-slaying sect seriously, their sect master is also an expert at the nascent divinity tribulation realm. 7-leaf golden lotus. You're just at the divine court realm. If you encounter them, how will you fight them? Aside from the demon-slaying sect, what other forces are there? After hearing this, Ci Yuaner obediently replied, looks like the Zhengyi Dao and the Jingming Dao will also go. Lu Zhou became more confused. The orthodox way and the demonic way have always been incompatible. How can they go together? Are they there to fight or to argue? Tell Pan Zhong to come here. Tell him I want to ask him something. Upon hearing this, Ci Yuaner raised her arm in confidence. Master, you can just ask me. Go already. Lu Zhou's voice raised quite a bit. Xia Yuaner could only obey the command. It wasn't long before Pan Zhong rushed over with a bruised face. It was likely Xia Yuaner who took out her anger on him. Seeing this, Lu Zhou asked him about the injury on his face. The Jinting Mountain is very steep, so I accidentally fell. Then Lu Zhou got straight to the point. You're from Jingming Dao, so do you know about the grand ceremony? Upon hearing this, Pan Zhong nodded, indicating that he did. It will be a long story. Upon hearing this, Xia Yuaner snorted, then make it short. Pan Zhong, frightened, hurriedly put some distance between himself and her. Ever since the human race conquered Dian, other races have been driven to the north and west. In the cultivation world, good and evil are incompatible, and there are countless sect disputes every year, resulting in countless deaths. In order to alleviate the disputes, some small sects came up with the method of holding a grand ceremony. On one hand, it is for the sect's conflicts. On the other hand, it is a way to show goodwill to avoid disputes. After hearing this, Lu Zhou more or less understood. Then do you know if the Jingming Dao will participate in the Yu Province Grand Ceremony? I heard there is a saint that will be used as a bond to resolve conflicts. Is that true? Upon hearing this, Pan Zhong shook his head. That, I really don't know. I left Jingming Dao 3 years ago. Yes, it is. The saintess will also be the marriage bond. After hearing all this, Xia Yuaner was so angry that she stared at him wide-eyed. Traitor. How can she do something like that? After getting a rough understanding, Lu Zhou waved his hand to dismiss him. Senior. Pan Zhong hesitated, then knelt down on the ground with a thud. Please, Senior, grant me the 6 yang skill. No sooner had he finished speaking than he was lifted by Xia Yuaner. Do you think you can bother Master with such trivial things? Just go look for it yourself in the archives. Pan Zhong was a bit embarrassed. Are such important cultivation secret records really so casually given out? Before he could react, he was thrown out by Xia Yuaner. Lu Zhou stroked his beard without saying a word. Qi Tiandao often plundered the cultivation records of the famous orthodox sections. Most of them were discarded without even looking at them. At this moment, Ming Shirin slowly walked in. Master, this disciple has something to report. Speak, Master. Please read the traitor disciple, Siwia's flying letter. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou was momentarily stunned and then took it into his hands. The 7th disciple? Ever since the 7th disciple left the Jinting Mountain, he rarely took an interest in the Jinting Mountain's affairs. Now his attention is focused on the Jinting Mountain. After all, he is a traitor to the evil Sky Pavilion. To send a flying letter here, he's quite bold. The content of the flying letter was about the 5th disciple, Zhao Yu. Xia Yuaner curiously leaned in to ask what was written. After Lu Zhou read it, he handed the flying letter to the two. Upon reading it, Ming Shirin was utterly shocked. Master, if the rumors are true, then I'm afraid junior sister Zhao Yu is in trouble. Upon hearing his words, Lu Zhou glanced at him. What do you think? Although Ming Shirin has an odd way of thinking, his ideas are sometimes worth listening to. Hearing Master's words, Ming Shirin began to analyze seriously. It's the third party that benefits from the tussle. If they want to make peace, then we will provoke them. Water and fire are never compatible, so it would be easy to do. Master, don't bother doing such trivial things yourself. Your disciple is willing to do it and will be sure to bring back junior sister Zhao Yu. After finishing speaking, he was secretly overjoyed. Well then, will Master allow me to go? Following this, Lu Zhou's voice rang in his ears. As your master, I punish you to the Cave of Reflection for 3 days. Was that not the way? I have to be responsible and diligent during this period. Do what I do, follow his orders, rush through enemies, kiss ass, and perform outstandingly, yet I still get punished? Even though Ming Shirin was a bit stunned, he dared not object. This disciple will accept his punishment. After saying that, he obediently rushed to the Cave of Reflection. Lu Zhou looked at him without saying a word. Ming Shirin's loyalty sometimes fluctuates around 70, but never 80. His restless heart is never honest. At this moment, Xia Yuaner asked with a puzzled face, isn't this a trap? Maybe it's to deliberately force 5th senior sister to vent her anger? Lu Zhou didn't explain much. He slowly stood up. I will go with you to the chancel. Master, are we going out? Hearing this, Xia Yuaner was overjoyed. Master, shouldn't we tell senior brother? No need, said Lu Zhou, leading her outside. It's time to see the new mount. Thinking of this, he snapped his fingers. In an instant, the sky above was filled with auspicious light. Seeing this, Xia Yuaner was excited beyond measure. Is the Whitesword coming out? With a rumble, a dazzling figure flew out from the purple auspicious cloud. Bayan was a legendary beast, shaped like a black tiger. Before it even landed, it roared, seemingly demonstrating its loyalty to its master. Xia Yuaner was startled by its appearance. It's not the Whitesword. Master, is it safe? It looks scary. Don't be scared, said Lu Zhou, stepping forward to stroke it. Hearing this, Xia Yuaner started observing it. As their eyes met, Bayan let out a low growl. "Master," it growled at me. Instead of being scared away, Xia Yuaner quickly jumped onto it. Following this, Lu Zhou casually waved his hand, and Bayan disappeared into the sky with the two of them. This was Lu Zhou's first ride, and what surprised him was that Bayan's speed was on par with Whiteswords. If there are any pros and cons with them, it's that Bayan is more aggressive. It is equivalent to them having strength beyond human cultivators' capabilities, but they're less intelligent than humans. Whitesword is stable and a smooth ride. It also belongs to the aiding class, so I don't know its capabilities for now. Soon they arrived at their destination, Runan City. After stopping in a secluded corner, Xia Yuaner cheerfully began. "I understand what Master meant by not to attract attention." Lu Zhou nodded upon hearing this. Runan is not far from the Shin capital, and the Shin capital is where cultivators around the world gather. "Conceal your skills. We have to keep a low profile." "I understand," replied Xia Yuaner promptly. Then she went to a shop outside the city and discreetly bought 2 outfits with a box of gold coins. As soon as she had changed her clothes, she eagerly asked her master, "Master, are we going to have fun at the Shin capital?" All the way, Xia Yuaner was hopping and skipping with joy. "Grandfather, there isn't an up ahead. Let's stay there for the night first." "All right," agreed Lu Zhou with a nod. As they observed the sky filled with flying cultivators, it caused a stir among the people. However, the conflicts within the cultivation world did not affect ordinary people, so they weren't overly worried. It's the flying chariot from the unorthodox sect. It also has the banner of the demon-slaying sect. When will I become a powerful cultivator and have a flying chariot like that? Xia Yuaner looked unimpressed upon hearing this. "What's so impressive about that? My grandfather also has a sheep as a mount." A middle-aged man nearby scoffed. "Little girl, can your family's sheep even carry you?" "Humph. Not only can it carry me, it can even fly out of Great Yen in just half a day." "You can continue to boast about your family. Little girl, do you think I will believe your nonsense?" "You don't believe me?" Xia Yuaner rolled up her sleeves, ready to teach him a lesson. Fortunately, Lu Zhou called her in time. He was somewhat puzzled at this time. "I didn't expect that such important figures would come to Runan. Could it be that the unorthodox sect is still holding a grudge regarding the incident of Swishin-chan? Judging from such a grand display, they must be experts at the primordial spirit tribulation realm at the very least." Xia Yuaner entered the inn and told the innkeeper that they wanted the best room. Unexpectedly, he said all the rooms were booked and suggested they look elsewhere. "I'm very sorry. Because of the upcoming Chancel Grand Ceremony that only happens once in 3 years, many guests have come here to stay. So, we hope that our customers can understand and forgive us." "Alright," Xia Yuaner responded and turned to leave. But at this moment, a gentle breeze suddenly blew in, and a man holding a long sword appeared in the inn. "Innkeeper, a lodging." Realizing that a person from the divine court realm had arrived, the innkeeper was thrilled and rushed forward to greet him. "Honorable person, it is such an honor to us that you visited our place. We currently have 2 deluxe rooms available. We hope you don't mind making do with them." Upon hearing this, the man slightly furrowed his brows. "Great, 2 deluxe rooms. It's not a problem at all." Xia Yuaner was instantly unhappy. "Old man, didn't you just say earlier that all the rooms are full?" The innkeeper began to explain with a flattering smile. "Don't be disrespectful. This person is a cultivator who has already opened the 8 meridians and entered the divine court realm. Naturally, other guests like you should step back. Even so, why did you book 2 rooms when you were alone?" Upon hearing this, the man spoke calmly. "Let me give you an answer. In my luggage, there are ashes of a companion who has passed away. Although he died in the battle, his spirit of being able to be fearless even in the face of death deeply inspires me. In my heart, he has always been alive, and should also be regarded as a living person. My sword has accompanied me through many years of battles and has killed countless enemies. I should have been entitled to have an extra room, but since my sword never leaves my side, 2 rooms are just enough." Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou felt quite helpless. There are indeed people in the world who are so neurotic. Yuaner nodded, moved by his words. "If that's so, then you really need 2 rooms." Seeing her agreement, the innkeeper intended to see them off. "Excuse me, customer." Unexpectedly, Lu Zhou spoke at ease. "Hold on. Is there a problem, elder?" "I want a deluxe room," Lu Zhou said, then turned to look at Xia Yuaner. Understanding his intentions, she released her chi, creating ripples in the surrounding air. The building and tables trembled under the pressure. If the energy was any stronger, the inn probably couldn't stand it. Seeing this, the innkeeper dropped to the ground with a thud. "Today, there are quite a few big shots at the inn." The sword-carrying man was equally shocked. Such a young age, and she's already reached the divine court realm. Under Lu Zhou's gesture, Xia Yuaner then withdrew her chi. The sword-carrying man then volunteered. "My brother, during his lifetime, He highly respected the strong and always aspired to become a great cultivator at the primordial spirit tribulation realm. I will share a room with my brother, and the other room can be given to this old gentleman. Upon hearing this, the innkeeper finally breathed a sigh of relief. Otherwise, things might have been a bit difficult. However, at this moment, Lu Zhou shook his head. Not enough. This old man wants 2 deluxe rooms. Although Xia Yuaner has limited life experience, she is already 28 years old and not a child anymore. Ultimately, there are differences between men and women after all. Upon hearing this, the innkeeper was drenched in cold sweat and hurriedly ordered his staff to prepare. Lu Zhou then led Xia Yuaner up the stairs. As they passed by the man, Lu Zhou glanced at the sword in his arms. Male and female double sword pair? A double sword pair of male and female, one long and one short, decorated with dragon and phoenix, at the peak of the earth tier weapons can barely be considered as a quasi-heaven tier weapon. Lu Zhou continued, if you know about this sword, then you should be careful with your words and actions. If it were any other time, I would have definitely used this sword to teach those who insult the sword a lesson. Upon hearing this, the man looked composed. This sword has killed countless enemies, and after several decades of tempering, it has already become a heaven tier weapon, not an earth tier weapon as you claimed. In my opinion, there is no weapon in this world that is sharper than the male and female double sword pair. Upon hearing this, Yuaner curiously looked at him. Are you able to use both of those swords alone? At this, a trace of desolation flashed through the man's eyes. I used a long sword, while my brother uses this short sword. Lu Zhou was somewhat speechless. You two really are a pair. How did you even achieve the divine court realm with such neuroticism? He then asked with a puzzled look, is that sword sharp? Upon hearing this, the man immediately drew the short sword to demonstrate. He placed a strand of his hair next to the blade. He placed his hair next to the sword, then lightly blew on it. Instantly, the hair was split into 2 sections, and this is only its pure physical sharpness. This is the unparalleled sword of this era, and yet the old mister still has doubts. Seeing this, Lu Zhou suddenly had a bold idea. He then started to rummage in his bosom. Usually, there aren't many opportunities to test heaven tier weapons. Why don't I use Wei Ming to test it out now? If my sword were to be damaged by it, then it proves that Wei Ming is really a worthless sword, and not worth keeping it. The man's expression changed slightly. Old mister, please don't. I think your sword is good. If it got destroyed, I would be uneasy. It doesn't matter. Lu Zhou then swung his Wei Ming sword and a crisp sound of collision echoed. He observed it carefully. There are no scratches or any damages done on Wei Ming's sword, but the short sword of the double sword pair is also in perfect condition. This means that Wei Ming is at least on par with the male and female double sword pair. However, the problem is that why couldn't it even scratch a piece of copper or iron during the test in the secret room last time? Since Wei Ming can transform into multiple weapon forms, could it be more suitable as a shield? Just as he was pondering, the man was incredibly surprised. Is there really a weapon in this world that can withstand the double sword pair? Xia Yuaner muttered. That's because you are not familiar with it. My grandfather can break this thing with his bare hands. Do you believe it? Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou's mind immediately pictured 2 kids boasting about whose brother can eat more crap. Talkative. Let's go. Fearing that Xia Yuaner might say something else, he quickly led her upstairs. Watching Lu Zhou's receding figure, a touch of solemnity flashed in the man's eyes. Hi, Shuaping. Hope to have the opportunity to see you again, old mister. A moment later, Shuaping also returned to his room, but as soon as he put his sword on the table, a cracking sound was heard. Shuaping, puzzled, drew his short sword and found that the blade was shattered like tofu. How could this be possible? This weapon is my life. Now, this sword got destroyed? Was it that old man? The sword and the person are one. If the sword perishes, so does the person. Shuaping was furious. He drew his long sword and was about to go settle the score with Lu Zhou, but as soon as he opened the door, a swordsman in a blue robe came face to face with him. Shuaping sneered. Please move aside. The swordsman in the blue robe uttered 2 words calmly. I apologize. With that, he drew his long sword from his back as quick as lightning, and sheathed it again in one go. Shuaping only saw a flash of red light before the swordsman in the blue robe had already appeared behind him. How did he pass through? The world has become 2 parts. What a strange feeling. Just as Shuaping realized something was wrong, his body fell to the ground in 2 parts. The swordsman in the blue robe then arrived at a restaurant. A faint smile lingered at the corner of his mouth as he mumbled to himself, Master, where are you? At this moment, a shadow quietly appeared outside the window. What? he asked indifferently upon noticing. The shadow quickly responded upon hearing his question. The sect leader had me inform you that sword addict Chinwenjia had already arrived in Runan 2 days ago. Please keep an eye on the top cultivators from both the Orthodox sect and the Righteous sect. On another note, Senior G from Heavenly Demon Pavilion might possibly have arrived in Runan as well. The sect leader wanted to know what's your plan. Yu Shangrong snorted coldly after hearing this. That is none of his business. Seeing him approaching the window, the shadow panicked and quickly retreated to one side. There's no need to fret, my friend. The wind is quite big outside. If you don't have anything else to do, why don't you come in and have a drink? Upon hearing this, the shadow didn't dare to agree and promptly bid farewell to leave the place. Look, a birdman. Yu Shanrong took a sip of tea and then disappeared from his spot in a flash. Time quickly moved to the next day. Lu Zhou, who was in a deep sleep, was suddenly awakened by a noisy commotion. After dressing, he went outside. The innkeeper, along with some officers, came straight towards him. Old mister, did you see the killer who killed Zhuoping? Lu Zhou shook his head, quite puzzled. Zhuoping is dead. Seeing his reaction, the officer could only sigh helplessly. Zhuoping is a sword master, so a person who is able to kill him must be another professional too. It's only normal that you didn't see them. Lu Zhou's gaze swept across the crime scene. However it is, Zhuoping is a powerful cultivator from the Divine Court realm. Somehow his death is so quiet with no signs of struggle. The opponent might be someone from the mysterious Heaven Saint realm. Zhuoping's death has nothing to do with me, but the killer seems to be quite a character. If Runan itself is a huge trap, then getting out of here in one piece would be difficult. Upon reflecting on this, he asked doubtfully, does Zhuoping have rivals? The lead officer frowned slightly upon hearing this. Don't ask about things that you shouldn't. But just after he spoke, he saw the other party take out the token of the Imperial Army, exclusive dragon pattern, someone from the royalty. Seeing this, the officer broke out in cold sweat and quickly kneeled on the ground after coming to his senses. Xia Yuaner coldly glanced back. Grandpa, should we beat them up? Lu Zhou ignored her and went straight to the officer to inquire, what's Zhuoping's identity? The officer didn't dare to slack off and hurriedly replied, he's a sword master. He got the male and female twin swords from killing his own brother. The government can't do much with him as well since his cultivation level is quite high. Why is he at Runan City? The officer respectfully stated that he did not know. These soldiers are merely small characters. It's rare to come in contact with cases that involved cultivators of the Divine Court realm. It's only normal that they didn't know. At this time, Xia Yuaner ran over to take a look. After observing for a while, she came back to her master's side. He got killed with a sword. She demonstrated as she explained, from here to here, and right in front of his face. Lu Zhou nodded upon hearing this. The killer is probably a sword user with a heavenly weapon. There are quite a few people who meet these conditions that come to mind. Sword addict Chenwenjia, brilliant sword user, Jian Aijian, Luo Sex Luo Changqing, or that bastard disciple, Yu Shanrong. As he was deep in thought, a loud commotion suddenly came from outside. Out of curiosity, Lu Zhou came out to take a look and saw a giant 13-story red tower slowly flying overhead. Judging by the symbols on it, this was the exclusive flying chariot of the Great Sky Temple. Lu Zhou stood at the doorway observing for a while, then signaled Xia Yuaner to head towards the Saint Altar north of Runan. Along the way, they were stealthily followed by a figure. Master, someone's following, Xia Yuaner promptly warned after noticing. She had cultivated from the Qing's Jade Scroll, giving her far superior sensing abilities than cultivators of the same realm. Moreover, she was quirky and full of ideas, and could probably protect herself with the skills from Qing's Jade Scroll even against a more powerful adversary. He didn't need to worry about her. I originally planned to take a ride to the Saint Altar, but there's currently someone following us. Better take care of that first. With that, Lu Zhou dropped a smoke bomb at his feet. Seeing this, the stalker finally couldn't contain his curiosity and emerged. Don't go yet, old mister. What is it? Lu Zhou coldly glanced at him. The young man smiled slightly. I wanted to buy something from you, old mister. No deal. Go away. Xia Yuaner angrily kicked an innocent puppy. The young man didn't heed her words and continued. That short sword of yours, old mister, was able to destroy the male and female twin swords. It is a good sword. I'm willing to pay a hefty price for it. You were here yesterday? Lu Zhou asked doubtfully. Indeed. My original plan was to discuss this matter with you yesterday, but there was someone there, so I had to back off a bit. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou nodded. You like swords? A fervent look gradually appeared in the young man's eyes as he slowly replied, "The sword is my life, love till my death." After uttering these words, he added, "I was planning on killing Zhuoping and taking away his male and female twin swords. Who would have thought that someone got there before me? It was a pity that the person had destroyed the sword. It was such a bummer." "Who is that person?" Lu Zhou asked after hearing this. The young man shook his head and answered reluctantly, "I didn't see it, but it's not a hard guess as well. There's only 3 people who could wield a sword with such refined skill. One of them is the elderly demon, Ji Tiandao from Evil Sky Pavilion. Also, the person who I'm most afraid of." Xia Yuaner burst into laughter. "Then you should have run away." The young man showed a confident look. "Why would I? I've observed you 2 all night. I'm not mistaken. Kiddo, you are indeed in the divine court realm. Old Mister's body is considered quite healthy and his cultivation powers are around the middle stage of conscious condensing." That's off topic. Back to the main point. The second person who would master such refined sword skill is the second demon, Yu Shangren from Evil Sky Pavilion. Lu Zhou's gaze hardened. "The third?" The young man replied with a smile. "The third person is right before our eyes. You're the sword addict Qinwenjie." "Oh no. Qinwenjie is addicted to sword skill, not the sword. I'm different. I like swords and sword skill." Someone who is uncertain about their own standpoint like Qinwenjie would eventually die. At this point, Lu Zhou had guessed the other's identity. Jian Aijian, the one who loves swords to death. Jian Aijian. He changed his name to show his love for swords. I'm afraid the only person in the cultivation realm who could do that is him. It's a toxic way of life too. He's a person with no responsibilities to him as well. He's good at surviving in the cracks of this treacherous cultivation realm. It's clear from how he's able to escape from the killer of Zhuoping. He had 2 big traits. 1. Love swords. 2. Don't get into unnecessary business. Seeing that he's able to survive until now without having a standpoint proves that the second trait worked in his favor. Upon hearing Lu Zhou say his name, Jian Aijian couldn't help but feel proud, but in the next second, his eyes lit up and he became excited. At this moment, the dark Wei Ming was already taken out by Lu Zhou. "It's so pretty. I love the feeling of it being short yet detailed." Seeing his excited expression, Lu Zhou shook his head. "If you don't want death, then it's best that you don't think of this sword." Just as he finished speaking, several dull bell sounds suddenly came from a distance. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou looked in the direction of the bell sounds with confusion. The Saint Altar is a feast between the divines and the demons. Why is there a Buddhist bell sound? Jian Aijian seemed to guess his destination. "Old Mister, there's a lot of people at the Saint Altar. It's where all the cultivators of both divine and demonic gathers, absolutely menacing. I suggest that you don't go there." Allegedly the saint goddess who's getting picked this time is the 5th female demon from Jinting Mountain Pavilion. Pfft, demon becoming a saint goddess. What more is new? Still, if you, Old Mister, actually went there and got killed by accident, the sword will be in my possession. Until then, I'll be sure to drag your dead body and find the best place to bury you, Old Mister. As he finished speaking, he suddenly became alert. Then a violent gale swept towards him. Jian Aijian reacted and quickly raised his arm to block it and swiftly created distance. Xia Yuaner, however, stared at him coldly, her face full of anger. "You asked for it. Watch me beat you till you beg for mercy." Having said that, she leapt up and charged towards him with her fists. Jian Aijian took advantage of his position and once again created distance. "A hot-tempered kiddo. You're really not the typical divine court realm. Don't make me draw my sword, kiddo." At this moment, the sound of bells came again from a distance. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou frowned slightly, knowing that he needed to hurry as the ceremony was about to start. He's just a normal person who likes swords. There's really no need to waste a skill card on him. "Yuaner, let's go." With this thought, he snapped his fingers. In an instant, a purple light circulated and the low growl of a beast approached from far away. The massive figure of Bayan arrived in the blink of an eye. Jian Aijian was immediately shocked upon seeing this. A legendary mount. Those who have a mount from the legends, without a doubt, are experts. Although this old man's cultivation is rather weak, his background is not simple. Therefore, he tried to persuade, "Mister, the chancel is extremely dangerous. Are you still planning on going?" Lu Zhou answered calmly, "This old man has his own plans." Having said that, he jumped onto Bayan and flew towards the Saint Altar. At this time, Jian Aijian was undecided. Do I follow them or not? What if I meet that old devil? I'm not going to participate in their disputes. Yes, that's it. I'll just wait for them to die and bury his corpse. Having made his decision, he leapt up and quickly followed. At this time, the sound of bells echoed around the Saint Altar. The imposing Great Emptiness Temple hovered above. Dozens of monks were chanting sutras with their hands joined together. The sound waves rolled out and echoed continuously in all directions. Xia Yuaner asked curiously, What's a bunch of monks doing here? Lu Zhou explained, the Buddhist Great Meditation Learning. The Great Meditation Learning has a powerful and intimidating effect on enemies. This was achieved by the communal chanting of sutras. Only the bald donkeys of the Temple of Great Emptiness could pull this off. However, he was also puzzled. I wonder why the Temple of Great Emptiness would suddenly appear when they don't care about the secular world's affairs. Shortly after, the surroundings returned to tranquility. Xia Yuaner looked up to see that the flying chariot of the demon-slaying sect was also here. As Lu Zhou mingled with the crowd, he discovered, just as expected, the surroundings are the righteous sect cultivators, and the demon cultivators are all unsightly and some are even panting. With the gaze of the eyes of truth, almost everyone is hostile. If I reveal my identity, will I be okay? If I want to take Xiaoyu back, I'm afraid it will be difficult. Currently, I have 3 impeccable cards and 3 deadly strike cards, enough to protect myself. At this point, a person flew out from the flying chariot of the Great Emptiness Temple. He glanced below as he made hand signs. The abbot has a decree. The Saintess Xiaoyu will be taken away by the Great Emptiness Temple. I ask for your understanding and forgiveness, my dear benefactors. As soon as his voice fell, there were immediately people cursing below. You bold donkey, how can we let you take the Saintess away just as you please? What do you take our righteous sect for? Lu Zhou looked around and didn't find Xiaoyu. Xiaoyu was on the chancel since the monks of the Temple of Great Emptiness, the righteous sect, Clarity sect, and the demon sect are here. It's getting crowded. As he was pondering, a voice suddenly came over. Mister, you should take a few steps back. Seeing the person, Lu Zhou was speechless. Jian Aijian? It seemed like the rumor about this person's pathological obsession with swords was true. However, for someone who loved his life equally as much, it was unexpected that he would come to the chancel. He has quite the guts. Jian Aijian still didn't give up persuading. Mister, if it weren't for your sword, I wouldn't have come to this nonsensical place. You should leave now while you still have a chance to do so. In a few moments, those monks will seal the chancel. Mister, the chancel is only a pretense, and the Saintess is the bait. Although Lu Zhou was puzzled when he heard this, he remained outwardly calm. How do you know this is a trap? Jian Aijian gave a sly smile and began to negotiate. If you sell me your sword, I'll tell you, you're only at the middle stage of the sense-condensing realm. Nobody will be able to save you if you don't leave now. This is your last chance. Lu Zhou found this somewhat annoying and funny. I thought you wanted me dead. Jian Aijian shook his head and began to explain. No, I value life above all else. I would love to get my hands on that sword, but a righteous man should obtain the sword in a righteous way. Look around you. All of them look like they have a short lifespan. You're a good person, mister. Good people should live long lives. Upon hearing this, Xia Yuaner couldn't help but burst into silent laughter. Jian Aijian continued, that sword is a treasure. As its owner, I'm sure you won't have a bad character. This logic made Lu Zhou feel helpless. He stroked his beard and said, there are so many experts here. Can the Temple of Great Emptiness deal with them? Hearing this, Jian Aijian pointed down and said, Mister, look closely. The elders from the Righteous and Clarity sects aren't here. Only the 3rd seat of the Demon sect is here. They won't be able to do anything. They're being held back by experts. They'll be lucky to keep their heads, let alone coming to the chancel. Kong Xian calmly explained, Zhao Yu is a villain from the Heavenly Demon Pavilion. She bears many sins. Several years ago, Master Kong Ming had lost his life in her hands. The Temple of Great Emptiness shall take her to let Buddha purge her of her sins so that she'll be able to reincarnate as a human. As soon as this statement was made, there was immediate laughter from the crowd below. The she-fiend is the public enemy of the noble path. The Temple of Great Emptiness has never bothered about these things. And yet, you suddenly show and fill our ears with your intended acts of mercy. Here's what I think. Poohaha. The demon-slaying sect side still had no reaction, and was exceptionally quiet. This naturally drew Lu Zhou's attention. The demon sect's 2nd seat, Swishinchan, was killed by me. For this reason, they hated the Heavenly Demon Pavilion. It was logical for them to shift the blame to Xiaoyu. I'm surprised the demon sect had sent their 3rd seat here this time. I don't know this person and had never seen this person in the memories as well. Perhaps, this person was too insignificant for Ji Tiandao to take note of. Kong Xian was not angry. He spoke lightly. This old monk didn't come here to ask for your approval, dear benefactors. I'm only here to inform you of this decision. The Temple of Great Emptiness must take the villain of Heavenly Demon Pavilion, Zhao Yu, away. As soon as the words were spoken, a sword-wielding figure suddenly leaped out. That will depend on whether you have the ability to do so. Everyone's faces brightened at the sight. It's Square from our righteous sect. Senior brother is amazing. Jian Aijian shook his head and didn't bother watching. just a cannon fodder throwing his life away. The great meditation only weakens and intimidates its targets. With the chaotic blood chi of these people, I'd applaud them if they're able to even unleash 30% of their strength. Xia Yuaner, on the other hand, watched with great interest, even joining others in enthusiastic applause. Just as Square attacked with his sword, Kong Xian was surrounded by bursts of golden light, which quickly formed a protective barrier. With a bang, it repelled Square back to his original position. Kong Xian remained as still as an Arhat golden body. Why is there a need for anger? The villain is from the Heavenly Demon Pavilion. You have all fought and lost against the old villain along with 10 great nascent divinity tribulation realms experts. Even the Heavenly Sword Sect Master Luo Changfeng died a gruesome death. His implication was, only by handing this she-fiend over to the Temple of Great Emptiness will everyone remain safe. If Ji Tiandao were to come, how many of them were capable of stopping him? Upon hearing the monk's unpleasant words, someone immediately stood up to refute him. You foul-mouthed bald donkey. If the righteous sect can't handle him, what makes you think the Temple of Great Emptiness can? Upon hearing this, Kong Xian's face remained incredibly calm. The abbot has been cultivating in seclusion for a century and has raised his cultivation base tremendously. We are able to handle that old villain. Upon hearing this, everyone showed a look of horror. The Temple of Great Emptiness Kong Yuan was a 6-leaf golden body divine monk a century ago. Who would have expected him to have been cultivating in seclusion all this time? At this moment, the leader of the Clarity sect took a step forward. If Master Kong Yuan can deal with the old villain from the Heavenly Demon Pavilion, the Clarity sect agrees to hand over the Saintess, Zhao Yu, to the Temple of Great Emptiness. Upon hearing this, Kong Xian nodded in response. This old monk thanks the benefactors from the Clarity sect. The Temple of Great Emptiness definitely won't let you down. We'll certainly reform the villain. However, as soon as the words were spoken, a figure in a red robe walked out. If you wish to take Xiao Yu away, you'll have to ask for my permission. Kong Xian gave him a cold glance. This old monk has said this visit isn't intended as a negotiation. I'm merely here to notify you of this decision. The demon-slaying sect's third, Zhuoduanqing, retorted without any mercy. The Temple of Great Emptiness has always claimed that it views all life equally without differentiating the righteous from the evil. It has also never meddled in worldly affairs. Don't you have anything better to do today? Benefactor Duan, are you going to stop this old monk? Wretched monk, you're refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. With a wave of Zhuoduanqing's hand, 5 experts from the demon-slaying sect charged forth. Upon seeing this, Kong Xian calmly began to cast his spell, standing in place. A 2-meter-tall Arhat golden body slowly materialized. Seeing this, many were stunned, didn't expect Kong Xian to have such a cultivation level. If Kong Yuan was here, that would be something else. Jiang Aijian quickly cautioned, the Arhat golden body is on par with a nascent divinity tribulation realm's 2-leaf avatar. This bald donkey isn't your average monk. Old mister, quickly move to the back. The demon-slaying sect has clearly come prepared. If that bald donkey uses a Zen mark, you'll certainly be affected since you're only at the sense-condensing realm. Those 5 are at the Divine Court realm. They're also the demon-slaying sect's main force for this occasion. Lu Zhou ignored his words. At this moment, his mind was filled with thoughts. From the memories, it was true that during the past events in this cultivation world, the Temple of Great Emptiness stayed away from worldly affairs. Rumor had it that the abbot of the Temple of Great Emptiness was a cultivation genius of the Buddhist Zen sect. He was so obsessed about the Zen sect that he became a Buddhist monk immediately. However, rumors were just rumors after all. Back then, Zhao Yu had encountered the Temple of Great Emptiness Kong Ming. They had a fight, and Zhao Yu killed Kong Ming. If he truly had been a cultivator of the mysterious Heaven Saint realm, would he have let Zhao Yu go? Since the Temple of Great Emptiness had chosen to interrupt the grand ceremony this time, they were clearly declaring the Heavenly Demon Pavilion as their enemy. In a blink of an eye, the fight in the field had ended. The 5 from the demon-slaying sect were repelled with a single move. At this point, Zhuoduanqing spoke in a cold voice. Kong Xian, an honest person doesn't have to resort to schemes. You're the one who kept the elders of the Clarity sect and Righteous sect away, right? Upon hearing this, Kong Xian shook his head in denial. The Great Temple of Emptiness is an open and upright institution. Why would we need to resort to such methods? Weren't you the one who stationed the scoundrel monks outside the chancel? Kong Xian retorted with a cold brow. It seems like you greatly misunderstand the Temple of Great Emptiness, dear benefactor. If you insist on stopping me, Benefactor Duan, I'll play the game with you. As soon as these words were spoken, the atmosphere became tense. Zhuoduanqing stretched his muscles and slowly stepped forward. You bald donkey, if you wish to take Xiao Yu away, I won't allow it. As his words fell, he charged forward like a bolt of lightning. Kong Xian furrowed his brows upon seeing this, as he couldn't gauge the opponent's cultivation level in time. Reacting, he once again channeled energy to manifest the Arhat golden body. Everyone held their breath upon seeing this. Didn't expect two nascent divinity tribulation realm experts to clash immediately. The demon-slaying sect have placed a lot of weight on Zhao Yu since Suishin-chan was dead. It's no wonder that Duan Xing refused to give in. Suishin-chan was the only nascent divinity tribulation realms expert who managed to cultivate the evil Zen to the four-leaf golden lotus stage. However, he died inside the heavenly demon pavilion. How could they not be furious about this? Duanxing's figure appeared, circling Kong Xian with countless attacks. What kind of technique is this? I've never seen it before. It's my first time seeing such a dazzling technique. Jian Aijian couldn't help but exclaim, these afterimages are caused by extreme speed. At this moment, Lu Zhou lightly stroked his beard and spoke, Taoist technique, Tao invisibility. Upon hearing this, Jian Aijian's eyes widened in disbelief. Mister, you know this technique? This technique originated from the Taoist societies. It was spread to Fuyu before it eventually became a lost art. In the field, Duanxing's expression remained calm, while Kong Xian felt immense pressure and decided to get serious. In that case, this old monk won't hold back. Having said that, his fingers began to wave up and down continuously, with strands of gang qi constantly interweaving around him. A dazzling golden light then burst forth. Zen Sect's Dhyana Mudra, seeing one's nature. At this point, Duanxing paused and did not continue his attack. Great Vidra will engrave. As Kong Xian's words fell, a golden giant palm under his control charged directly at the opponent. Seeing this, Duanxing no longer held back. The vast energy within his body burst forth, the four-leaf avatar. At the moment the avatar solidified, the giant palm came crashing down. Upon collision, the violent gang qi immediately spread out, sweeping around like a hurricane. The corridor doors were blown into intense vibrations, and the highest and central door clanged open. Look, inside the chancel's sacred doors. Upon hearing this, the crowd immediately followed the sound and let out exclamations. They saw a figure in white robes, Zhao Yu, bound to a golden pillar. There was a red golden lotus painted on her forehead, but there was no fluctuation of energy around her body. Under the fierce attack of the demon-slaying sect Duanxing, the Buddhist Kong Xian gradually fell into a disadvantage. However, he still had no intention of giving up on taking away the female demon. At this moment, Duanxing smiled arrogantly. If that's really all you got, then hear me out. Run along with all your bald donkeys. Upon hearing this, a flash of cold light crossed Kong Xian's eyes. If you decide to continue on like this, then please excuse this old monk. With that, he sat cross-legged and began chanting a series of scriptures. At the same time, all the monks on the flying chariot in midair also put their hands together and started chanting. In an instant, the humming sound of the scriptures echoed throughout the sacred altar, continuously reverberating in everyone's ears. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou felt uneasy. This is bad. How do I defend myself from this? Hypnosis, one of the Buddhist sound skill methods. It's similar to the tranquility mantra. As they recite hypnosis, it benefits them by disrupting the consciousness of their foe. Weak cultivators will be obstructed by it and end up bleeding out from their 7 orifices. After realizing the danger, Lu Zhou instinctively started to mobilize countermeasures in his mind. He then turned to look at Xia Yuaner, finding that this disturbing sound wave attack was like the buzzing of a fly to her. Her simple heart and lack of distracting thoughts were advantageous. Besides, she's also in the divine court realm too, so I guess Sanskrit has no effect on her. All the attention was on the field earlier, and I didn't notice when Jian Aijian disappeared. As time passed, the sound waves of the Sanskrit hypnosis grew louder, rolling in like ocean waves. Lu Zhou understood that he, being in the sense-condensing realm, could not hold out much longer. So, he took out his impeccable card and walked straight into the field. All it would take is a single move to kill Kong Xian of the Great Emptiness Temple, and without their leader, the Sanskrit hypnosis would naturally break. It'll be hard to take Zhao Yu away under the eyes of all these people. Seizing the opportunity to use the impeccable card to avoid the sharp edge would also be a good move. By this time, the buzzing of the sound waves had increased several times, causing all cultivators in the sense-condensing realm to spit out fresh blood. Why is the old man okay? We're both in the mid-stages of the sense-condensing realm. Why am I exploding when I'm at the same stage as him? That old man is completely fine. This is not logical at all. Lu Zhou was also somewhat puzzled at this point. Exactly, why am I completely fine? Because the power of the Sanskrit hypnosis had reached its maximum, many people with lower cultivation levels were bleeding from their mouths and died on the spot. Yet, Taoist texts started appearing in Lu Zhou's mind and a sense of heat came from his dantian, which amazingly turned into a feeling of coolness. From the dantian to the chest, passing through the heart and reaching the mind. Lu Zhou's face instantly lit up. I can't hear the buzzing of Sanskrit hypnosis, but rather the content of the heavenly book starts to sound. Human word scrolls of the 3 scrolls of heavenly book. In the field, Kong Xian's avatar, under the blessing of Sanskrit hypnosis, had grown several times larger, comparable to Zhuo Duanqing's 4-leaf avatar. However, he not only had no intention of stopping but even accelerated the speed of his chanting. Arhat golden body, double. With this exertion, the giant golden body instantly split into 2. As the one in the center of the battlefield, Zhuo Duanqing was the most affected. He gritted his teeth and let out a cold laugh. Bald donkey, so this is what you call looking over all the sentient beings? What a hilarious joke. Having said that, he controlled his avatar to actively attack the other side. Upon their collision, the entire sacred altar underwent severe tremors. With a loud bang, Zhuo Duanqing was sent flying and crashed heavily into a distant wall. He immediately raised his hand to control the damage caused by the sound wave and then looked coldly at the other side. The bald donkey is that strong? What is he doing? Why isn't he stopping? He already won. Kong Xian, whose body was glowing and starting to float, showed no intention of stopping the Sanskrit hypnosis chanting. At this moment, a voice suddenly came from behind. Enough. Buddhism has been known for not killing, yet a killing spree is happening today. Did the Temple of Great Emptiness have the permission to do so, or are you the one who's behind it? Looking at the extraordinarily calm old man in front of him, Kong Xian was somewhat surprised. How? Are you alright? Lu Zhou, after hearing this, glanced at him indifferently. I'm asking a question, all you need to do is answer. Old benefactor, are you trying to stop this old monk? Although Kong Xian was puzzled, he still exuded self-confidence. Seeing this, Lu Zhou shook his head. Thick-head fool. Having said that, he pulled out his 2 trump cards. Realizing that this old fellow wasn't easy to deal with, Kong Xian decided not to hold back anymore. He put his palms together, and the muster energy in his body began to circulate wildly. 2 increased to 4, 4 increased to 8, 8 Arhat golden bodies. Die, old man. As his words fell, he controlled the golden body to press down forcefully on Lu Zhou. But at this moment, an unexpected change occurred, and everyone was shocked beyond words by the scene that unfolded next. A golden Buddha, 100 feet tall and 10 feet wide, appeared by the old man's side, keeping the 8 Arhat golden bodies at bay. Kong Xian stood dumbfounded on the spot, unable to believe it. This golden body is too damn big. My Arhats are the size of a fist compared to it. As he stared in astonishment, a miniature handprint quietly approached. What is this? Kong Xian reacted and retreated rapidly like lightning. As he retreated, he slapped out countless palm prints, but all were blocked by an invisible barrier in front of Lu Zhou. Seeing the danger, Kong Xian could only abandon his golden body and continue to dodge. This is the deadly strike. Death is inevitable. Can you evade it? However, why did it manifest with a Buddhist sex technique? Lu Zhou was also pondering this question. At this moment, Kong Xian's intuition told him that this handprint was very dangerous. It seemed to have eyes and kept following him. The sacred altar plaza stretched for several miles. Just when he thought he could dodge it, the miniature handprint suddenly enlarged and its speed increased a lot. The more Kong Xian retreated, the more he felt something was wrong, because as time passed, the handprint had become larger than a person. Under the instinct of survival, he could only run away wildly, but the handprint enlarged again to the size of a house. Like swatting a fly, it directly hit Kong Xian. With a bang, it hit Kong Xian instantly, vanishing into thin air, not leaving a trace. The flying chariot of the Great Emptiness Temple also crashed to the ground under the residual power, and the chanting of the Sanskrit hypnosis disappeared. The field was silent at this moment. Zhao Yu, who was trapped, looked up and her whole body began to tremble uncontrollably. The master has come. A strong sense of fear caused her to faint again. Lu Zhou watched this scene calmly. Just 10 seconds to resolve. Not too long, not too short. Everyone's mind was filled with questions. This old man managed to defeat Kong Xian with just a single strike. Who's this cultivator who unleashed such a powerful Great Vidra will hand sign? Is he another enlightened senior monk from some Buddhist sect? Lu Zhou looked around. Most of the cultivators were currently unable to fight. The plans of the heavens superseded that of man. This makes things much simpler. The deadly strike card and the impeccable card I just played had a great shock effect. No one should dare to attack me now. If anyone could pose a threat, it would be Zhuo Duanqing alone. The question is, does he still have the guts? After a long silence, Zhuo Duanqing bowed his body and his eyes were filled with gratitude. Zhuo Duanqing from the demon-slaying sect, thanked the master for his help. The Clarity sect and the Righteous sect came to their senses and also thanked the master in front of them for his life-saving grace. Why is the master's hair so lush? Maybe it's a wig? You idiot! Cultivating with long hair while drifting through the clouds like a wild stork is the highest state of spiritual enlightenment. Haven't you ever heard of it? Seeing his identity being misunderstood, Lu Zhou just went with it. He raised his big hand and placed it on his chest, his face gloomy as he began to speak. The Buddhist sects value mercy above all else. I'm greatly distressed to have killed one of my own kin today, but I had no choice. Upon hearing this, everyone felt a great admiration for him. There's no need to concern yourself about this, Master. Kong Xian was despicable and shameless. He intended to kill all of us with the Brahmin lullaby and take the saintess away. This outcome is to everyone's satisfaction. A person like Kong Xian doesn't deserve to be a disciple of a Buddhist sect. You're truly an enlightened senior monk. Compared to those sanctimonious bald, well, you're 10,000 times better than them. If it weren't for you, Master, all of us would have died. Master, you have such a profound cultivation base. I wonder what brings you to the holy altar today. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou responded, I was just passing by. The crowd began to flatter him again. I see. I heard that senior monks who cultivate with their hair like to travel the world and regard the four corners of the world as their home. I'm truly blessed for 3 lifetimes to have met you today, Master. Seeing this scene, Lu Zhou was helpless. I can't stay here any longer. With Suodwanqing, a nascent divinity tribulation realm cultivator present, the remaining monks can't cause any trouble. Where is Xia Yuaner? This girl, how carefree is she? How can she fall asleep with all the commotion around her? She doesn't know how to be cautious. This won't do. I'll have to re-educate her. But now isn't the time for teaching her a lesson. Yuaner. Upon hearing her master's words, she reflexively sat up immediately. Seeing this, the crowd began to flatter him again. Master, I see you have a female disciple. Is your Buddhist sect so broad-minded that it's even accepting female disciples? What's the fuss? I heard that there was a master that took in a monkey and a pig as his disciple. Lu Zhou glanced at the highest building of the holy altar. Go get her. Xia Yuaner understood and answered, then quickly flew upwards. Master, you can't take her away. Lu Zhou listened and glanced over. The crowd immediately didn't dare to speak further. Then Lu Zhou spoke again. Did you think Kong Xian was acting alone when he boldly attacked this venue? That's right. Although the monk Kong Xian had a profound cultivation base, would he have acted this way on his own? This must be the Temple of Great Emptiness's abbot, Kong Yuan's doing. Upon hearing this, the crowd suddenly came to their senses. Such scum is an embarrassment to Buddhist sects. Kong Yuan has cultivated for a century, and yet, he has ventured down the wrong path. However, if Kong Yuan furiously comes, we ask you to defend us, Master. Lu Zhou listened and didn't say anything. What does it have to do with me if Kong Yuan comes looking for trouble with all of you? What a joke. If I weren't here today, all of you would have died. Besides, I don't know who caught Xiao Yu and brought her here, and it's already a great blessing for them for us to not settle this. Yet they still dare for justice? If Kong Yuan chases after them after this, they can consider it as a lesson. After contemplating this, he called out to Xia Yuaner and turned around, preparing to leave this place.